The Air Navigation Bureau is breaking frontiers. Envisioning a future with fully integrated Rpas operations, we have Miguel Ramos. Please join me in welcoming him to the stage.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Welcome, everyone. I hate to interrupt the beautiful music from John Coltrane with my voice, but I hope that my presentation will be entertaining for you. My name is Miguel Ramos. I work from the Rpas program of the Air Navigation Bureau, and I'm very pleased today to share with you the vision that we have for the Rpas, the remotely piloted aircraft systems, the unmanned aviation in general, and the way to go, and what ICAO is undergoing, what is the work that we are trying to convey to you to help states. At the same time, I would like you to think, as I speak, where are you and your civil aviation authorities regarding this issue? What are your needs? What do you need from us, and what do you need from yourselves to together some regulatory framework that will help you to manage this unmanned aviation? Aviation is undergoing a very dramatical change right now. And it's not the traditional change that we've seen in the past, over the 20th century, that was very fast, but it has certain cadence. Now we're confronted with a very disrupted evolution of new technologies that in a way needs to be integrated into the well-established civil aviation system. This integration brings opportunities for entrepreneurs, for operators, for many people to do business. But at the same time, it brings challenge to the states, the regulators, that are confronting a big, massive amount of requests to operate different type of new airplanes, new aircraft that is unmanned. This growth is so big that you can see here what is where we stand in 2016. This growth has no precedent in aviation. It's like when you go to see your friend, your relative, and you don't see your nephew in a couple of years, and you come and knock the door and say, "Johnny, open the door." And he comes and opens the door. He says, Johnny. It's a big guy now. Now, it is big, it's huge, but probably is not as mature as you expected. So how we are going to cope with the new emerging industry that is expanding very rapidly, but is not necessarily mature. And now, it is not only the market that we used to see. There's not your little Kyocera, your Parrot, your DJI drone that you used to buy online. Now we have a plethora of commercial platform manufacturers, services. We have a lot of components and system organizations that are manufacturing these elements. You have media, news, you have universities, institutes that do a lot of research programs. This picture tells you a lot. It tells you what is the future in the near future. And probably this picture doesn't contemplate all the stakeholders that right now are acting in this world in this respect. What we're talking here is about different designs. Some of them will have reminiscence of the traditional aircraft that even operate from traditional airports, like the Predator that you see there from NASA doing some research. Now you fly wings. Now you have some quadcopters. And even you have some rare artifacts like that one. I know it looks like it's coming from a Harry Potter movie, but it's not. It's an ornithopter. And that is helping some airports in their bird control programs. And it's operated by a remote pilot. So design-wise, the sky is the limit. Equally important is the big variety of applications that we have. From agricultural crop dusting monitoring to some research or firefighting support done by the Scan Eagle, to some quadcopters that are being helping some organizations to do maintenance checks, borescopic reviews in maintenance hangars, to the go Amazon, buy your drone and be happy and fly it. Everything in between. And of course, talking about Amazon, we have now this new concept that is rapidly coming, and you probably saw in several videos on YouTube about this delivery, drones delivery. Now, what's the difference here? Whatever I've said before, it involves a human. There's a human in the loop. You're operating those remote pilot aircraft. But when you start thinking that the future will involve machines, controlling machines, that is a new ball game. And it's something that we will talk as we speak about what ICAO is currently doing. Now, with this, the first question that everybody is going to ask, how we're going to do with all these different type of operations. First, what the states are confronting here, they need to start grouping them. They start to have classified, but the kind of the type of operation we have. You will have a very low altitude operations. You will have a very high altitude operations, up to 60,000 feet. Now you will have some RPAs that will be flying alongside of manned aircraft. And you have others that need to be segregated. That you need to put geofence to keep them safe from the operations inside. So that is one of the things that every state come and say, we need to do something. I don't know what to do. That's why when they approach ICAO says, ICAO, what can we do? How can we manage these different sort of operations? Because my inspectors and the people in ops are telling me, there comes this guy with this drone, say, I need to do some inspection with this artifact. And they say, why are we do it? Then another comes with another one, say, I want to do this research with this other one, this other US. So they say, help me. But ICAO has a very robust way to approach regulatory frameworks. Normally, we start with the need. And about 10 years ago, states start to come to ICAO and say, what I mentioned to you. We need to start regulating unmanned aviation properly. And then we said, yes, let's review what is the need for this. So ICAO, after we review the need, we put together a group of experts. And it was formed about 8 years ago, the Unmanned Aviation Systems Study Group, a group of experts that made the analysis. What are the needs so far for the states to have? And this group that lately evolved into the Rpas panel that we have since 2 years ago came with the notion that we need to establish a regulatory framework, mainly for the Rpas, because it's the mandate for ICAO. For the moment, IFR International. So the first stream that we are working currently, and very effectively, is developing a full regulatory approach for Rpas. What entails that full regulatory approach? Those will be the aircraft that will be full certified, that will need airworthiness certificate, that will need an operation certificate, and that will require license for pilots. It is expected that these Rpas eventually will be integrated into the mainstream of the manned aviation. So we can envision that in the future, you will see an cargo RPA flying alongside unmanned aircraft landing in Hamburg. But that requires a full regulatory approach. But guess what? The states are coming and saying, that's great vision. Yeah, I agree with you. But you know what? My problem right now is these thousands of little drones that are getting around my airports. And whether ICAO has the mandate for international IFR operations, we said we need to respond to the community. And then we form a small group of experts called the Small UAS Advisory Group that are, since this year, start to develop some guidance for the states for the proper management and regulate the activities of those UAS that does not fit in the criteria of IFR International. We'll talk about these two streams more in detail in the next slides. Now, we have the network delivery drones that currently are outside the boundaries and the limits of ICAO because of the reasons that I told you. There is no human that does not correspond to our criteria of an aircraft so far. Whether ICAO is going to be involved in this, it is pending for the future. For the moment, it's not part of the work program that we have. Okay. This brings, and that picture of the drone industry can tell you there is a business. And there is really a profitable business in this world of unmanned aviation. But the states have to very careful put in balance the benefits and the safety aspects, where now we're going to protect the people on ground from these aircrafts that are flying. So don't be surprised that at some point in time, the states come and say, despite economical benefits as big as they are, we do not guarantee, we don't have the means to guarantee the safety of the population. So these criteria has to be built within the civil aviation authorities. And question again, okay, great, how? Well, one of the first things that you may have to consider is to change the perspective to regulate based on operation rather than the aircraft per itself. So for years and years in manned aviation, we are being based everything around the design of the aircraft with the purpose to protect people on board. Now, when we designed an aircraft that the purpose is not to protect the humans, the lives on board, we have to shift our mindset into a more operation-centric risk-based approach. Because now we have to protect the people that are on the ground or in another aircraft in manned aviation. What that means in practical terms, that if you have one specific UAS is going to fly to conduct some surveillance, monitoring of pipelines, or stock movements around farms in rural areas, you may approve the operation, but exact the same aircraft may not be approved to conduct some photographing, shooting of a sport event in downtown. Same airplane, but it is not the same operation. So now in this moment, again, for the civil aviation authorities, we have to start establishing a very operation-centric risk-based approach with flexible regulations, performance-based regulations, with everything that implies, also in terms of training my personnel in drafting regulations and overseeing the activity. Going back to our first Rpas work stream, for the full-fledged regulatory approach, the objective of this group of experts is to be able to achieve that those RPAs will fly alongside the main aircraft and be, as we mentioned here, a cooperative airspace user. We do not represent a hazard for the main aviation. But that requires a huge amount of work in multidisciplinary aspects. Imagine that this entails the amendment and addition of 18 of the 19 annexes of ICAO. Now I have a question for you. Can anybody tell me which annex is the only one that is not going to be affected by the Rpas regulatory framework? Guesses? 5. Good for you. Good. Excellent. Number 5. Units of measure. Meters are going to be meters. Kilograms are going to be kilograms. But apart from that, everything else has to be modified, amended. Where we already have amendments to 3 annexes, 2, 7, and 13. And 1 is coming, Annex 1. In 2 years, we expect to be approved, and it's going to be sent to the States. Now, you can imagine the amount of work that entails for ICAO. Our Rpas panel, even when we have members and advisors, that in total group about 100 people coming to ICAO 3 times a year, we are hardly cope with this workload. So we have to depend on other expert groups. I have 9 here. We need to have a lot of interdependency with groups like the Frequency Spectrum Panel, Ops Panel, Accident Investigation Panel, Communications Panel, Airworthiness, Safety Management, and others. Can you start sense the level of coordination, expansion? Whatever I tell you that ICAO is doing, you have to start thinking right now, what I'm going to do in my Civil Aviation Authority. Is that person the only person that we assign to the Rpas program and the CAA, having these multidiscipline aspects that we consider? So this is kind of a, think about it. These panels are related to technical aspects within the Air Navigation Bureau domain. But guess what? There are other aspects that we have to take in consideration. We have legal aspects to deal with. Currently, now the legal committee is sending surveys to the states. Tell me all the liability issues that you're confronting. We need to study, we need to group together. The Committee on Aviation Environment Protection, the CAPE, is now also currently review what are the noise considerations that are being applied to manned aircraft that may apply to unmanned aviation. And also the benefits, potential benefits of having unmanned aviation in terms of emissions, etc. But it's under the discussion. And last but not least, a very important key factor, all the security aspects, whether it's the physical security of the remote pilot stations, but very important also, the cybersecurity, which is a big issue here. We don't have humans on board. We have them. We depend solid on signals and C2 links. We need to protect them. The other stream that was mentioned is, well, you probably, many of you attend the technical commission yesterday. Yeah, some of you. If not, yesterday we received a lot of support from the Technical Commission for ICAO to expand the current work and the current mandate of IFR International, also to start producing some work and continue the work with the advisory group on other UAS that does not correspond to the traditional IFR International. And we're already working on that. The toolkit that Leslie Carey, my boss that is in the back, which by the way loves to respond to questions after the meetings, is being developed by us. And this toolkit has the purpose to provide general guidance for national regulations. And one thing that is very important, the very pragmatical approach of bringing the practical lessons learned from states. This advisory group is composed by not only member states, but also members of industry, of some UAS companies. Some of them even are delivering packages on humanitarian purposes in Africa and some other places. It's a very interesting group to work with. And we have an awareness campaign through partnerships underway with Amazon, Facebook, and Google. So Amazon, Google. And when people say, Facebook? What are you doing with the Facebook? I don't know if some of you know, but Facebook, equally that Google, has projects of putting up to 60,000 aircraft that will beam internet signals in remote areas. And there is a Google Loon or is a Facebook Aquila. Those are projects that are underway, as well as they have their own projects in Amazon Prime and Google Wing. They're trying to see if they're going to deliver in packages as well. So they are interested to create these awareness campaigns. And there's a very interesting approach for this. Actually, here is, where's Cliff? Cliff's it? Just in the back, there's a Cliff, which is also part of the Rpas team that is the main focal point for these partnerships, among many other things on the small advisor group. And he will be more than happy also to answer some of your questions after about these partnerships. Just give him a like on the Facebook and he will answer everything you need. So, okay, having this in mind, education is essential here. As like Paulo Freire, from a famous Brazilian educator, said, education doesn't change the world, but it changes the people, and they change the world. We need to educate the people that will make the change, because it requires a change, it requires a mindset. This change bring by regulators and what and how to regulate in this such a performance-based form. Industry, including manufacturers, service providers, operators and other express users, and general public. And obviously, you have to imagine that depending the target population, that's the level of information and education that you need. For some full-fledged Rpas operators, they will need a complete set of regulations, whether other users and general public, they need some basic flyers. Don't fly, this is your fly, the no drone zone kind of information. We're on time? Yep. So, what ICAO is working in terms of education, we put together about a year ago an Rpas workshop, which is basically to communicate to the states what ICAO is currently conducting and be able to transmit part of our guidance material that we have in order the states to start developing your regulations and appropriate overseeing of these activities, wherever they are in terms of the big spectrum. The first day, we provide the basic fundamentals for unmanned aviation. We give to the participants the ICAO Rpas international framework, and we provide some detailed information about each of the chapters of the Rpas manual that's now available. The second day is very interesting because we put the groups together to work in practical exercises. And this is very important because we stimulate the states, whether represented by the civil aviation authorities and also by the operators, interact and discuss what are the needs. It's a very good exercise with civil aviation authorities, can learn what are the needs of the operators, what the operators will understand, especially the ones that are not being exposed to aviation before, what are required and what entails to work in this environment. And the third day, we let the students to go and do some exercise by themselves. We use a lot of guidance material. We use our Rpas manual, some guidance, some templates they use, and we promote the ICAO US regulation portal that will be superseded by the SUAS toolkit that will have its own website that is going to be online and available before the end of the year. So far, we have workshops being conducted, two workshops. One in Stockholm in May of 2016, and one in Lima on May. And the response was extremely well from so many people. They were very happy. They came out and saying, we really feel that now we're more prepared to confront all this massive amount of requests. We feel more solid to respond to the needs. So it's a very useful exercise. I will really encourage you to come and attend, or people that are directly involved in the regulatory aspects and the drafting regulations for unmanned aviation, and in the overseeing of these activities to attend these workshops. We expect to conduct workshops in all the regions, the ICAO regions, by the end of 2017. So I will encourage you to get in contact with appropriate regional office where we will be able to tell you when is scheduled the next workshop in your region. By that, I would like to summarize a few points that we're going very quickly this morning. The first one is a given. You know that unmanned aviation industry is rapidly evolving. For anyone that had any doubt, that picture of the drone industry is a clear indication where we're going, where we're standing right now, and where we're going. Probably even we cannot foresee all the possible and imaginable aisles that will take this as well. The complexity of unmanned aviation will challenge the traditional aviation regulatory system and the traditional education process to train our inspectors and our personnel to regulate these type of activities. States are encouraged to establish and adopt performance-based regulations. ICAO currently working on IFR integration, the UAS toolkit, the education and awareness campaigns, and very important, ICAO cannot conduct effectively its work if we don't have the retrofit, we don't have the feedback from all of you. That's the way that we've been working since 8 years ago, starting from the Unmanned Aviation System Study Group, the Rpas panel, and the feedback that we have from all the states is great. We'll be able to come with a very solid set of standards, and we progress through the years, but only with the feedback from all of you. By this, I will again ask you where your states are right now, what your states may need for the conduction of this oversight, and I really encourage you to join our workshops and to consult our website. There is a lot in the website that I forgot to mention, that we have a link to several civil aviation authorities that currently have regulations and guidance material you're probably not aware, because we give some guidance material, but the detailed elaboration of the regulations are being conducted by the states. By this, I would like to close before any questions with a very short video presentation that will probably summarize everything that I've been saying, even more.
Welcome to ICAO's Unmanned Aircraft Systems, or UAS Toolkit. UAS represent one of the fastest growing technologies in the world. Their designs and operations are challenging states to safely and efficiently integrate UAS into airspace shared with a highly regulated and well-established manned aircraft industry. UAS may fly near aerodromes, controlled airspace, densely populated areas, or near sensitive sites, each of which requires carefully considered regulations. Our virtual UAS toolkit is being offered to regulators as a starting point when establishing regulations and guidance for domestic operations by presenting global best practices, lessons learned, and regulations. Whether used as toys or as professional platforms, unmanned aircraft, or UA, can be flown in a variety of configurations using payloads and sensors that best serve their missions. The economics benefits are immense and obvious to all, while the societal benefits include humanitarian efforts, search and rescue, firefighting, infrastructure and crop monitoring, and research and development. UAS operators and remote pilots may be new to aviation and can benefit from the information contained in the toolkit. Developing UAS regulations that consider public and aviation safety first, along with security and privacy protection while promoting industry, is an achievable mission.